Welcome back. We're continuing to look at this example of a quadratic equation. In previous videos, we solved this using factorization. We also use the formula. And on both occasions, we got x equal -5 and x equal -3. Now, let's look at it using completing the square. Now, there were some previous videos on completing the square where I explained the principle behind it. Now, the formula or the format of an equation, a quadratic equation, that's what is called a perfect square. It's also a complete square. Is generally written as x plus h all squared, which when you multiply it out is x squared plus 2hx plus h squared. Alright? Now, you have 2h is the coefficient of x. That means it's a number that multiplies x. And then you have the h squared. Let me just highlight the h here. 2h times x plus h squared. Also highlight the 2. That's multiplied by the hx. Now, let's look back at the problem in front of us. When you're solving this by completing the square, you want to have it in this form: x squared plus 2hx plus h squared. Now, look at this. You have x squared plus 8x plus 15. You want to fix up this part of it so that you have an x squared plus a number multiplying x plus half of that number squared. Because the number that multiplies x here is 2h. Half of 2h is h, and that squared is h squared. So what you do is say x squared plus 8x. Then you're going to add half the coefficient of x squared. It's going to be plus half of x, or I'm not x, half of 8, because 8 is what multiplies x. Half of the number that multiplies x, and that will be squared. Just like what happened here. You have 2h, half of 2h, all squared. Half of 2 is 1, so it's 1h squared, h squared. That's what happened, right? So notice that carefully. Now, you're going to put back the 15 plus 15. You can keep it on the left hand side as it is now. So you say plus 15. But in separating the 15, what you could also do is put it on the right. But let's keep it on the left for now. Let me leave a space equals 0. Let's just keep everything on the left hand side. You want this part in this form. So this is x. No, we're not ready to go there yet. Let's look back at this. Half of x all squared. You have x squared plus, you have x squared plus 8x plus half of 8 all squared plus 15. You see this half 8 squared, it was not there before. So it changed the equation. Now what must you do? to compensate for what happened, well, it doesn't make sense to erase it and go back to the old equation. We're supposed to be moving forward, not backward. So as we move forward with this problem, we have another strategy to employ. What we're going to do is subtract this. We added it and take it away at the same time. So you minus half of 8 all squared. You see that? So what happens here is this. X squared plus 8x plus half of 8 is 4. So it's 4 squared. Right? We will keep it as 4 squared for now. We won't bother to write it as 16. Let's keep it as 4 squared. Now plus 15 minus half of 8 is 4. 4 squared equals 0. So that is equal to 0. Alright. Now, this part here, the x squared plus 8x plus 4 squared. Look at this up here. When you had x squared plus a number x plus half of that number squared, it can be written as x plus that number all squared. You can apply the same principle to this. Now, one of the reasons why I did not square out the 4 is to clearly see what number is squared. So don't bother to square it out and write 16 as yet. Alright? So what I'll do is rewrite this as x plus 8 squared. So it's x plus 4 all squared. You see that? Out to this part now. Plus, at this point you can square out the 4 and you have 15 minus 16 equals 0. So you have x plus 4 all squared plus 15 minus 16 is negative 1 plus negative 1. But saying plus negative 1 is the same as saying minus 1. So that equals 0. Alright? We're kind of running out of space. What I'll do is just separate this and continue the work over this side. So here now, you have x plus 4 squared minus 1 equals 0. What you'll do now is start putting the number, put the negative 1 over the other side. In other words, add 1 to both sides. Let me make a bit of a space to go through that properly. Equals 0. So if I add 1 to this and add 1 to this, add 1 plus 0, then what happens here is that negative 1 plus 1, and there is no more 1 here. So you have x plus 4 all squared equal 1 plus 0 is 1. Alright, the next thing to do is this. You square root. If you have x plus 4 squared and you want x plus 4 alone with the square root gone, with the square gone, you square root it. So you find the square root of x plus 4 squared. Now remember, when you square root a number, there are 2 of them, 2 roots, a positive and a negative. So you say plus and minus equal the square root of 1. So what you have is positive and negative. The square root of x plus 4 squared is just x plus 4. Alright? Equals 1. Now, saying positive or negative, x plus 4 is equal to 1. It's the same as saying x plus 4 is equal to positive or negative 1. Alright? Same thing. Now, what you do is add 4, subtract 4. X plus 4 equals plus or minus 1. Then you say subtract 4 to get rid of it over to on the left hand side. So you have x alone on the left. But whatever you subtract on the left, you must also subtract on the right. Now, this leaves you with x equals positive 1 minus 4. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. And negative 1 minus 4. Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. So again, you see, you get the negative 3 and the negative 5. Same answer as with factorization and the formula. Alright? So this is a matter of completing the square, the method of solving the quadratic equation by completing the square. Okay, so that will be it for this video. I will see you in the next video.